Take it to the next level.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Coach Tiffany Parra, Editor-in-Chief of Phoenix Fitness Fanatics Magazine, elevating your mind, body, and spirit. Today, we are taking center stage on the Own It Publishing platform with one of our amazing contributing writers. You've probably seen her before, and if you haven't, you are in for something great today. So let me go ahead and bring her on in. Hey, what's going on? Eva Vennari. Woo, she's in the house.
So exciting to be here every time.
Oh, it is. I'm so excited just to have you. So excited to have you in the Phoenix Fitness Fanatics family and just having your wonderful expertise and knowledge. You are just amazing. And everyone, this is going to get very juicy today. So look, grab your pens, grab your papers, get ready to take some notes because today we are going to learn a little bit about tapping into spiritual alignment. I mean, there's a lot of wonkiness going on these days, right? Eva, I mean, there's so much just emotion and so much just craziness going on in society. So,
yeah,
right, just got to shake it off. Take a moment just to introduce yourself, tell everybody who you are, where you are from, and just a little bit about what you do.
Sure. My name is Eva Vennari. I'm a reverend, and I'm based out of Los Angeles, but I could be anywhere. I like to move about. And what I offer is a way for professionals and coaches to get to their next goal holistically. And that could be in health, it could be in relationships, or it could be in spirituality. Woo.
And I absolutely look, and I just love what this woman does here. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about just, spirituality, spiritual alignment. I mean, there's really, when we have these conversations, there's so much misconception and so much like just turmoil about just having the conversation, right? About spiritual alignment. So, can you tell me why do people why does everybody always think like that this is religiously, it has to be like religiously based, you have to have a religious background and things to be in spiritual alignment? Can you kind of explain that for us?
No, well, I'm going to preempt it. I said I was a reverend, but I'm not affiliated with any one church. So let's just put a pin in that permanently for the whole talk. So I think it's important to realize that spirituality has nothing to do with religion. Religion can be rote. In other words, you can do things through just memorization. You can show up and be there in person, but you may not actually be connected with anything spiritually. So yeah, there's a lot of misconceptions. Spirituality and religion are two separate things. We were spiritual before we were religious.
Right, absolutely. And as I think, as I was mentioning, backstage about the whole energy, right? We're that energetic beings, right? And that has a lot to do, with our spirituality. So how do people confuse spirituality with, following those external rules that, are drilled into, our heads a lot of times? And how does this misunderstanding prevent our true alignment with spirit?
Juicy. Yeah. So the misconception around Dogma, right? Those are the rules that you're talking about. And dogma tells you, if you don't do X, then Y will happen to you, either now or in the after. There's something about having life's consequences handed to you. But if you're being limited in your ability to connect directly with your true source of God energy by those rules, then these are not connection to spirituality. They're a connection to the man-made rules. And I think we have to look at, who do we listen to? Ultimately, that's the bigger. It's like, okay, where did these rules come from? Most of them are man-made.
Right. Right. And they've been rewritten and rewritten and rewritten so many times, right? So you don't know what messages you're giving. I mean, they're all misconstrued now. I think for me, you know, and being tapped in very spiritually, right? I just sit and be quiet and get the message from source.
Yeah, I think that there's a misconception that we must go through something outside of us in order to get access to God. And when I say God, I don't mean the one that Christianity has come up with, or any other religion. I was raised Catholic. I'm fully recovered now, thank you. But the idea of being the white man with the beard and up in the sky and looking down and being judgmental, that's a whole different circumstance. The creator God doesn't have gender. So this is the God I am speaking to. I don't have to sit there and go, oh, if you believe in this, you believe in that. All of those things that are designations of she, goddess, God, all of that, those are they're underneath category of source energy. This is where everything comes from. That's what I'm talking about. So when you have connections direct, and we all do, we all have the capacity, then you have the possibility to be sovereign. And that's our human right.
Right, absolutely. Sounds like we're going to cut to a quick commercial break, and then we'll be back to dig a little deeper with Reverend Eva Vennari. We'll be right back, everybody. And we are back. This is Phoenix Fitness Fanatics Magazine, elevating your mind, body, and spirit. And we are talking about tapping into spiritual alignment with Reverend Eva. This is getting juicy, y'all, because look, spirituality is not always what you think it is, what we have taught that it is. Okay, so we're going to get a little bit deeper in this as well. So now, Eva, I know that, you know, when we're moving through life and everything, and, you know, you're going through daily life, right? And sometimes we get in like this, I don't know, it's a funk, right? It's like you're feeling just lost, and you're just like disconnected from everything, relationships and this and that. Like, how does that all, because I know it does, like, how does that all link to this whole spiritual alignment? Because it's all tied together. So can you explain to that how that works?
Yeah. There's a scourge on our humanness right now, and it's codependence. And the codependent says, I want to fit in. I want to fit in for you. I want to be liked. I want to be loved. I want to be all of those things. And they make us do is redirect our lines. We erase the line that says this is our boundary, and then, oh, I'll do this instead. And I'm going to cut right to the core and just say our job as a human with a spiritual eternal soul attached to us is to remember that eternalness, who we are, why we're here, and where we're going. And so that's the first realization. It's not the only, like, that's a lifetime of work right there that I just mentioned, getting to know who you are as an eternal being. And when we lose sight of that and we decide to let that go or diminish any part of it for the sake of a relationship, for the sake of a job, for the sake of other family members who want us to do something for them, to force and forsake ourselves, that's when we start to feel lost.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's when everything starts to fall apart. And I think people aren't realizing that, right? It's like people get into, and I'm gonna go ahead and just dig in here. People get into that victim mentality, right? Because they got all these different things going wrong, instead of really looking at what is it that you're doing that is allowing all this chaos to come in. There's something that you're not doing right. And it's usually you're not walking in your actual purpose. You're not walking in the reason why you were put here on this earth. We all have an assignment, right? But like you were saying, it's like you got family members over here telling you not to do certain things. You've got friends over here that are influencing you to do different things, right? You're at a job because you're like, hey, you know what? This job pays so great. But when you wake up in the morning, you're like, oh God, I gotta go to work, you know? But you go because that paycheck is great, but life is crappy, right? Life is not what you want it to be, and everything else that really gives you joy is falling by the wayside, and you're wondering what the heck is going on, right?
Well, yeah, it's really difficult to find joy at all in anything. Your attitude starts to go down. This is when bosses bring you into the office and go, you need to adjust your attitude. Or, or you get served like divorce papers or something. Like, your attitude is everything. And that attitude comes from a feeling of being grateful. And grateful comes from a direct alignment with source. So,
right. Just being grateful for that breath, you know, right? Because guess what? We don't create the breath.
Yeah, we only agreed to breathe it. Yeah.
So can you share some common emotional and physical symptoms that can really suggest that you're completely out of alignment? I mean, we touched on a little bit, but you know, I know there's quite a few things that can hit us when we're out of alignment. So let's dig into that so people are aware.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you mentioned a big one about, you know, doing things for family members. We're coming up on Thanksgiving. Have some self-care and some self-love. If there is somebody attending, including yourself, like if you're going through a time when you're like, you know what, I'm not very good to be around right now, I'm going to exclude myself from this if I can't adjust my attitude. Or if Sally Sue, you know, is going to be there and you don't like your Aunt Sally Sue, don't go.
Right.
Don't go. Just say, you know what, I'm going to choose to celebrate a different way this year. I'm going to be out of town. I'm going to go take a cruise, or I'm going to, you know, love yourself, because every single time that we do something that our heart doesn't want us to do, you know, we have an inner child conversation where it kicks and screams and it complains and it says, you don't love me. And this reflects in ways that are all the way from physical, and it could be as little as anxiety to depression to a heightened sense of, now your blood pressure is up and now you have kidney problems and now you have, and it just escalates and cascades from there, and that affects your relationships. It affects everything. If we cannot be authentic and show up, even if we have to say very little, people do not need to know our reasons. Just say, I'm not coming, right? And so a communication doesn't have to be around, oh, well, you know, I don't like that person, so I'm not going to, they're going to try to talk you out of it and overcome your objections. This is about you just saying, I have a private preference and I'm not coming this year. And I'm digging in on that example because it is coming up, and a lot of people want to go to Thanksgiving dinner, but they make themselves go. And the repercussions of doing that, how you do one thing is how you most likely do everything, is the quote. You're doing that throughout life and redrawing that boundary I was talking about earlier. And so if we can take care of ourselves and decide, I'm going to stick to that boundary, That's a reflection of self-love, but then that radiates into everything else that we do. And people will respond to that better.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think when you have those boundaries, they definitely do fall in line a little bit. And why would you want to go and be somewhere where you really don't want to be, right? And I'm going to tap into a little bit more, on that physical. We've had these conversations, it's your body is okay. Now you're at dis-ease, right? Now you're like uneasy. You're like, you don't want to be there. You're putting on that fake smile. And guess what? That's doing internally. That's turning into disease internally. That's where you start to see, you said the high blood pressure, right? So now we've got the hypertension, all that stuff going on. And, that could lead to heart disease because we're putting ourselves repeatedly into situations that we really shouldn't be because they don't make us feel good. Then we've got the other stuff like, cancers and things that fester in there because, again, we're putting our body at dis-ease and it doesn't like it. But you're going to keep this. Yeah. So nobody else around you can see that it's bothering you, but it's completely just tearing you up inside. So I think, a big thing for us with this is that we also listen to our bodies because our bodies are always talking, always telling us something, right? We're always feeling something, whether it be some, something going on with our stomach or, just really tap in, stay still and just tap into that real quick, right?
Yeah, everything is information. It doesn't mean that we're supposed to kill the message. It's more like what's allowing this discomfort or this dis-ease to be here. And most of the time are incongruency with how we feel to what we think. Those actions that don't align with each other. Well, the body keeps the score. It's a book, right? But it's also the truth. This is about, we have emotional, with these eyes, we can't see the layers of emotional body, the auric field, right? Usually. Right. So most people can't. And we hold all of those unprocessed emotions, that bad decisions, right? Not making good decisions for myself becomes the space that's the weakest part. And it becomes very, very dense and becomes a situation, some sort of manifestation in the body. So we have to clear those, and we have to learn what are the skills I need to process emotions out? How do I speak up for myself in a way that is respectful to me and respectful to the other person? All of these things, they matter. They matter. It's like, why wouldn't, I said it before, why wouldn't we do something to improve ourselves every day? Right. Start
with just being 1% better at something every day. And I think, hey, be 1% better at being good to yourself. How about that?
Yeah, love yourself.
Yes. So we're going to cut to another quick commercial break, and then we will be back. And we're going to get some tips from Eva on how we can, really get in spiritual alignment, right? So we'll be right back. All right, and we are back. This is Phoenix Fitness Fanatics Magazine, elevating your mind, body, and spirit. We are sitting here with Reverend Eva Vennari. We're talking about tapping into spiritual alignment. Look, y'all might have to watch this 2 and 3 times, okay, to really get the information from this interview, because this is just amazing. Learning how to just get in there, tap in, learning how to get true alignment, and learning what it is when you're not in alignment. So Eva, I know that there are, so many different, things that we can do to get in alignment, but what are some practical tips that, our audience that, they've never even heard about any spiritual alignment? What are some things that they can do, if they're feeling kind of off and, things just aren't lining up for them? What are some things they can do to get themselves in alignment?
Well, everybody's probably heard of meditation by now. If you're on planet, you've heard of it. So let's up level that a little bit, elevate it, as we say. And meditation can be wonderful for connecting in two different ways. I'm gonna give you some practice tips. One is if you want to connect with the source, that some people call it the great central sun, God source energy, lay down to meditate and go into that space there. If you're laying down now to meditate and you're trying to get to personal information, sit up. This is the distinction between the two. I know people don't seem to know this. And so when you sit up sit on your hip bones, like we are now for on our chair, and put your knees at a 90-degree angle, your feet flat on the floor, uncrossed. All of this puts you in the right physical place to then get more of the who you are personally as an eternal being. Now you can listen. So the next layer to the listening is discernment. If we are not in the right space of just thinking, well, whatever message comes to me from the other side of the veil when I'm in meditation must be good for me, that's not good spiritual discernment. We need to test it. If we have the ability to receive message from spirit, if we're being approached by spirit, then we have also the responsibility to make sure that it's for our highest good, because there's all kinds of corrupt energies out there that can ask us to do things for its benefit instead of for ours. We want only the things that are for our benefit. So test whatever messages you are receiving from that source. Ask it questions. It should give you answers that to questions that only you know the answer to correctly.
Okay.
So that anytime it's asking you to do something that is against your highest good, and you know that because it's not trying to tell you what to do, even though you don't want to do it. That's a bad example, because there's a lot of things that are good for us that we don't want to do. For example, I was recently working with a gentleman who was diagnosed schizophrenic, but he actually had a possession. And this possession was telling him things that were not true. One, he's Jesus, that kind of stuff. And then Jesus is not him. Like, that was a distinction. And then the thing was telling him, since you're not taking on this role, you should kill yourself.
Oh, wow.
And there was no spiritual discernment for this young man. He just believed whatever was being told to him from this unseen body. Well, he comes to me every day. He acts like my friend. He says he's my friend. Doesn't mean it's the truth, right? So we have to be discerning. And spiritual hygiene is the big part of that. We think that we can just willy-nilly open up portals. A lot of magical people, a lot of spiritual people, they are opening a lot of portals and letting spiritual entities into our spaces without even realizing it. And we must perform all of those things with spiritual hygiene. And everybody has a certain way to do that. For me, it's a matter of prayer protection. It's about creating a sacred space and then only doing my rituals in those spaces. So those are things to be aware of. Something even more simple. All of that's very high level, but very simple stuff. Physically, ground yourself. Get outside, get in nature. Wherever the natural land meets natural water is the best situation. Good enough would be wet cement outside, bare feet, 20 minutes a day, and this reconnects you with Gaia's energy. We spend way too much time separated and insulated from her energy, and we bring on a ton of inflammation as a result. Instantly, we can reduce things like symptoms of arthritis, pain in the body, feeling anxious. Even if you've been traveling and you need to go and you have your time scale is off, right? You're feeling jet lag. Go outside 10, 20 minutes, bare feet in the wet grass at your hotel or wherever you are. You know, like do that and around yourself, and you'll find a renewed energy. So those are a bunch of tips right there.
Yes, and I just love grounding. I mean, anytime I start to feel a little something, really, it's almost an everyday practice for me anyway, so I can just stay grounded, right? Because I'm just very high energy, and when you are a high energy person, you have to. I mean, everybody has to ground, but when you're high energy, you have to ground even more. Okay. So, oh my goodness, this is such great information. So many wonderful tips, Eva. So I know you have some really cool stuff coming up. So share with the audience some of the events that you have coming up that they might be able to tap into.
Well, you have an event I'm going to be speaking at in February.
Yes.
So Inland Empire, we'll be talking about the evolution of consciousness, the 3 keys to ascension. That will be there, that talk. And I'll have my pendulums, which here's an example of one. There we are. I make these. They're jewelry pendulums. They're wonderful. And people love them. And then I have in August a Alaskan healing cruise for 7 days from August 21st to the 28th. We'll be going Seattle to Seattle on a cruise ship by Cunard, which is all white glove, 5-star dining, and in between going on land here and there. I'm going to be healing people while we're on the water, which is a great magnification and great disbursement. So we'll be getting rid of all of those emotional buildup, the unprocessed emotional wounds. All of that will be done on the cruise. It's a one-on-one, not a group session. You get personal time with me. So seats are limited.
Oh, that's amazing. So look, you want to learn how to look. We're talking about tapping in. You want to really, really learn how to tap in and learn how to release some of the stuff that has really just been holding you back from tapping into your power and purpose. You want to get on this Alaskan healing cruise, y'all. So here is the link right here. As Eva said, there are limited seats. So definitely connect with her so you can go there as well. And let me go ahead and bring up your website here. So if you want to connect and work with Eva as well, this is her website, www.theelevateinstitute.com, and you can connect with her there and learn more about her services as well. So Eva, is there any words of wisdom or words of encouragement that you'd like to give our audience, just so they can just take on to, we're ending the year. As you said, we're getting into the holidays. It's going to get a little crazy, I think, in the next couple of months. So is there any words of wisdom you can give them?
Stop watching the news. Vote. How are you going to vote? Or what's next week or something? It's stupid. It's ridiculous. It's coming up on our heels so fast. Yeah, there's a lot to do, including New Year's resolutions. Put it down. Just be okay with where you are at the moment. And when you're ready to pick up and start looking at what it is that you want to do, one, book your cruise so that you can get your divinity code activation done and find out what your life's purpose is, and then make a path forward. It's about finding out why we're here and doing that work and not getting so wrapped up in the busyness of the world around us.
Absolutely. That's wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Eva, for, again, joining me, taking the stage with me. Thank you for being a part of the Phoenix Fitness Fanatics family. You are just absolutely amazing. Like, y'all, if you have not subscribed to Phoenix Fitness Fanatics magazine, definitely go to Phoenix Fitness Fanatics Mag 2021.com and you can subscribe. And if you want to become a contributing writer, join the team and be able to, be in a group setting with, amazing individuals like Eva and some of the other amazing coaches and subject matter experts that we have on the team. Definitely connect with me and let's get you on the team. So love you so much. Stay tapped in. We will definitely see you next time. Thank you so much. Take care, everybody.